Well, good afternoon. This is another retake I'm trying to do on a longer video today about the events in my neighborhood and about animal abuse, which is on severe rise in this neighborhood. But first, I will start with my name. I'm Astra Miglana Stanvik. I moved in Brandywine neighborhood, that's how it's named on Nextdoor app in Northern Phoenix in March of 2021. Seemingly beautiful neighborhood, seemingly very family-oriented neighborhood, very close to Christian school, seemingly. I was still unpacking boxes when I started enduring community harassment. I think that's the best name to call it. I have had trespasses coming from my east neighbor's children. One day unpacking groceries, one of the inexpensive grill tool package was stolen while it was sitting on the table on my patio as I was unloading car. I was surprised that it disappeared, but I didn't see anybody around, and I'm in my own backyard. Then things started happening more and more. I had property damage done. I had burglaries with either minor damage or minor things stolen, sometimes returned, sometimes not. Something you really, if you would call police, they would call you crazy. You just know things had happened, you know what's going on, you know your locks are picked because when you try to unlock your doors, they just don't work right. Once I caught my east neighbors on ring cameras at the time, trespassing on my property. Suddenly my ring cameras stopped working at night or at the times when I was leaving home. So here was no evidence of anybody entering my home or entering my property. So eventually I installed CCTV system while property damage inside and out was continuing to happen in thousands of dollars. Not much I could do other than accept the loss. When you call police, even when attempt on my life was done, police will not do anything to investigate anything. And it got even sadly more comical with police. In January of 2019, on January 17th, somebody entered my house illegally, somebody who does not belong here, opened my gas fireplace key for gas to flow inside the home. And by the way, key was not in the fireplace, it was in the drawer, and it is a universal key. And on January 19th, after midnight, somebody actually opened two outside propane gas valves, one on the line, one on the tank, for propane gas to freely flow inside of my house. That's night. Luckily, God was watching me over. I was on a patio watching videos. And when I walked in and smelled the propane gas in my house, well, I had to find the key to close a gas from continuing to go inside the house. I had to go outside, check the valves. They were both open. There was about 25 pounds of propane gas released in my house at night. I'm lucky to be alive. And here is a little connection to my ex-husband. January 17th was actually would-be wedding anniversary. I was married 21 years, divorced after ex-husband hired hitman team to kill me. And I'm suspecting through divorce procedures here is multi-million-dollar life insurance policies on my life. After that, in February of 2023, again, I had cyber stalking and harassment, threats to sell my property, threats to distribute nude pictures of me, which I had never consented to anybody ever in my life to take any kind of nude pictures of me, threats to sell my house, all kinds of cyber stalking and harassment, fraudulent credit card charges. I contacted on all of these things Phoenix Police Department. When it came to cyber stalking and harassment, in a very strange manner, Phoenix Police Department officer, instead of writing that I experienced cyber stalking on Telegram app and harassment, he wrote in report that I was rambling about receiving telegrams, which is completely different meaning, and added possible 918 code to the report, which means mentally ill or insane person calling. So that was quite a slap in the face. But I still try to get Phoenix Police Department to do investigations. I got in touch with one of the female property crime investigations. Basically, she told me no crime has happened. Well, technically yes, because nobody has sold my home. When it came to fraudulent credit card charges, close to $4,000 amount, I was in contact with Phoenix Police Department civilian detective Kim, and that got really interesting. So he was avoiding investigations even when I provided actual proof with the insurance company letter coming to my home showing who used my credit card to pay for their car insurance. Even with that, he refused to investigate this particular crime and claimed that he needed to hear the defendant's side of story, which I don't know if he ever did. He might have done. He might have called when defendant was actually in Seattle jail, arrested as criminal from Arizona State in torture and attempted murder case. But from what I read about that situation is Detective Kim was more curious about me, not about the crime. But then again, that's a third party, let's call it gossip. So I don't know that for a fact. Meanwhile, at some point I got a call from Detective Kim that by accident he charged U.S. citizen with all of these crimes that happened to me: propane gas release, burglaries in a garage, tampering with a car, cybercrime, fraudulent credit card charges. In that particular US citizen is an innocent person, he need to remove these charges. Meanwhile, the actual foreigner whose ID was supplied to police department originally to let them know exactly who it is, well, that one never was charged with crimes. Not at all. And that's how it went. Anytime I would be calling police, really nothing would ever be investigated, nothing would ever be done. There would be all kinds of excuses, why I don't have enough proof, why they wouldn't do anything. So these community harassers were becoming more and more emboldened. In the summer of 2024, I was letting my cats out to go in the yard, and periodically they would disappear. Like one occasion, 117 degrees outside, my male black cat disappeared for a couple hours. I hear on property northwest of me on West 103rd Street, somebody is opening something and saying, "No, you can go." And really quickly, my cat appears at my door. I pick him up, and during this hot weather, his paws and belly is absolutely cold. So which means the cat was not roaming outside, he was locked up someplace in somebody's house. I have had this happen with a property directly north of me, and I have had this happening with a property west of me. Here had been things happening with a property northwest of me and directly east of me. So these were regular happenings. It seemed like neighborhood was having some kind of strange entertainment. Snatching cats, locking them up, making me wonder. And that was going on till April of 2025. On April, actually in the winter of 24-25, here were two situations where my female cat, first time I heard her bloody mother scream on the property northwest of me. When she arrived home, she was in pain. She was licking her private parts intensively. She was very growly. And then, weeks later, she disappeared. She arrived from property directly west of me. My next door neighbor. She had gel-type substance on the private part end of the tail. Her tail was hanging flat. She had severe tail injury. She was licking her private areas. She was separating from rest of the cats. I had to take her to emergency room, and actually we had to make 2 emergency room visits because of this particular injury, which was severe. So on April 25, 2025, in the afternoon, I had 3 out of my 4 cats snatched from southeast end of my backyard. 2 of them were later released. One of the Get Sparkle female cat, she is still missing. So I'm trying to find, walking around, calling her, waiting, leaving the food out, and watching the cameras. And I started observing situations that when she was trying to approach home, either through backyard or at the front, my neighbors would kick in to terrorize her. It would be all kinds of BB guns, shooting, rock slinging. So she would be afraid to come home. She was terrorized in the neighborhood, and at some point when I saw her on a camera, I rushed out and tried to call her name, and she was just bolting for dear life, hearing human voice. By then she was petrified by humans, literally petrified. And of course, after Sparkle went missing, so I invested in a catio, installed the catio on my patio for other cats to be safer when they go outside. Well, neighborhood harassment didn't stop there. Of course, I still needed to shoot in my backyard, and that was coming from my east neighbors, unruly children. They were still shooting at the cats inside my enclosure, terrorizing them even more. And prior to that, November 28, 2023, when I called police on my east neighbors about children in their yard shooting babies and slinging rocks at me while I'm working on the patio and at my pets inside the yard. Police didn't come out. So the next day I got police out. They plain refused to do anything, refused to see any evidence. Basically told me this is a civil issue, deal with it. And I do have that on a video recording, this encounter. So after that, when I saw, actually caught on a surveillance camera, and that was during the school hours. Initially assumed it was a child, but it could have been female, adult in the household. It was March of 2024, I caught on surveillance video. Basically, the reason I watched for the video, I was sitting on a patio. And when I looked towards east, I saw BB rifle aimed at my face. So at that point, I went to look through surveillance cameras, and on surveillance video caught female, cannot tell adult or juvenile, but female had her BB rifle over the fence. And that was March of 2024, I think. So at this point, given police attitude, I just simply, you feel hopeless, police will not do anything. So I didn't see point even calling police. And after Sparkle got stolen, again, BB shootings continued at my property, front yard, backyard, and I was putting out food for hoping to get my cat back, but also feeding community cats. And what I noticed in that time period was that I've seen enormous amount of very injured community cats. In the previous years, I've seen community cats roaming around, and usually they looked actually quite healthy. What changed in this neighborhood at that time, I cannot tell, but I was seeing every cat that came to eat, every cat had injuries. And that was actually very, very disturbing. And of course, these cats are being terrorized by neighbors again with BBs slinging rocks, making noise, kids chasing them, climbing over the fence, trespassing inside my backyard to chase them, trespassing on my property in the front to chase them, to terrorize them. Yeah, I'm just taking a deep breath right now because it is really very, very, very disturbing. And in May of 2025, I went to my neighbor's residence, Gerardo Jimenez, to address BB shooting towards my property because Phoenix City Code prohibits any kind of projectiles being shot at the neighbor's properties. So, particularly paintball guns or BBs, they have to be shot strictly under adult supervision in a very enclosed area where they would not be crossing property boundaries. And obviously, police is intentionally ignoring the fact that we do have city codes that prevents that, and they are not interested to address these kind of issues. So I went to speak to my neighbor Gerardo Jimenez to ask to stop BB shooting. He adamantly denied that happening. Well, I see that, I hear that, I find BBs on my property. I hear babies hitting my cat enclosure. I know it's happening. He was adamantly denying, and then at some moment, there is second male from inside the house walking next to him. And at that moment, Gerardo his pepper spray moved into his right hand. His right hand is kind of twitching. He is ready to deploy the pepper spray on me. And then he realized I have phone in my hand pretty high. And he says, well, I don't like how you hold your phone. And I explained to him that I'm recording this encounter, so I have evidence that I address these issues with him personally. At that moment, he ended conversation and slammed the door. I think I got very fortunate avoiding assault because I was videotaping that particular encounter. After that encounter, my missing cat was brought into their property, briefly released in my yard near the property line, where children at that time, small children visiting their property, quickly retrieved the cat. The cat was brought into their backyard, obviously in the cage. I hear little girl saying, "Kitty, you want something to eat?" And the next thing comes a barrage of shots fired from BB rifle. So they were terrorizing my cat in their backyard. Unfortunately, with not having video, police is not going to do anything once again. I am helpless here. So then later somebody comes to their property, and I hear, while sitting on a backyard patio, I hear Gerardo telling story how I trespassed him and all his family, in which I called police after the incident where I almost got pepper sprayed and had him, all his family and their visitors trespassed from my property, including any flying projectiles. So he is having somebody else come telling how I trespassed family and visitors. And this visitor is given the cage with my cat. So by the time he was in their driveway, I was by the front door basically watching the feeding area, and I heard him slamming the cage a couple times against the ground, then violently shaking, putting in a car and driving away. On another occasion, when I purchased a drop trap to trap my cat. When I've seen cat in the area on cameras coming to my house, but really, as soon as the cat she noticed humans around, she would be bolting. So I said, I got the cats coming to my backyard by the house. I set up the area where I could use a drop trap safely and try to get my cat back home away from community abuse. So I heard lots of dog barking, and suddenly I hear neighbors directly west of me and northwest of me. Humans and dogs are engaged in chasing some animal. And as the end result of that chasing that animal, I heard my own cat screaming when she was caught by these neighbors. Once again, they were not allowed. She was not allowed to return home. So it is for any normal person, it is difficult to watch this abuse. It is. So eventually things started escalating even more. I purchased rolling cameras, cellular cameras, because Wi-Fi was just simply shut down. So I purchased rolling cellular cameras to better monitor my yard. Well, turns out with rolling cameras, here is no safeguards in place. So these perpetrators can get to your cameras, get the codes from the cameras, install their own app, and pretty much turn the cameras off whenever they want to trespass and do any kind of crime. So these cameras, for most of the part, became pretty much useless. Well, the good news, the sound quality is good, the picture is actually quite good, but, you know, if somebody wants to break in the house or just decide to do a walk on your roof, harassment from above, which has happened quite frequently, the cameras get turned off, and once again, you don't have evidence of that happening. And the roof trespassing, that's very simple. From my east neighbor's yard, trespassers get on the block fence. It is foot between my yard house and the block fence. They get on the roof of my yard house, and then here is a 3-foot leap onto the roof of my house. That's how simple it is. I had called police a couple times on the roof issues too, and eventually I had been told by Phoenix Police Department not to call police anymore unless I had true 911 emergency. And that additional part about true emergency came after about a minute pause in the conversation. So community harassment kept escalating, you know, nail guns shot at my property, rocks sling. I would be sitting in a house, here is something would hit the house, and I don't know how it's done. I don't see damage, but something is happening. And of course, the community cats I'm feeding and hoping for a return of my missing female cat. You know, I see on the cameras that these cats are really being really badly harassed. They use my real link camera microphones to produce some sounds, to get cats' attention, to get them alert. Shooting at the feeding area made cats run for their life because they were getting hurt. And then I had the neighbor's children running around, either getting in the yard or front yard, or right on the sidewalk, running, having things that makes lots of noise, chasing the cats away, prevent them from being able to have the food. And because of all the shootings, I decided to create something to protect them. And by the way, yeah, I couldn't feed them in the backyard, or because just simply here was even more trespassing and even more activities aimed at these cats, so they would not be able to come to the patio area to eat, and even less chance of them to be able to get food of any more distant place in the backyard because of these neighbors' active harassment of the cats. It's unbelievable time used to monitor community cats coming into my yard and being harassed. So part of this is these community harassers knowing that I love animals, and part of that is hurting me emotionally by hurting community cats. So that is a part of the problem. So I had to stay with feeding them in the front. So I did create a table with two enclosed sides. And here you see the kind of a shelter side of the table. So that is the right side where the cat is facing the walkway towards the house. That says community cat feeding station. Please do not disturb. The long enclosed side says do not abuse cats in Arizona law. So here are boards mounted, so when the projectiles fly at eating areas, so cats to some degree are protected from these projectiles. Well, this idea really made abusers mad. So aggressions increased, and I started noticing projectiles shot at cars driving by at home. And because my railing cameras would be turned off by these perpetrators, so I could, most of the times I could monitor situation is when I was doing live view. Rest of the time, you know, any unsavory situation would be deleted, either videos deleted or camera just simply either peer sensor turned off, or you know, any place else in settings something is turned off so it wouldn't register animals coming to eat. And this particular camera registers humans, cars, and animals. So I was having problems with these cameras, so I decided that I need to try different type of cameras. I did a pretty lengthy search trying to find a better type of camera, and I found a new type of camera that does 24-hour recording with highlighting human events. So the camera really does not register animals or cars, but it's really fixated on humans in camera view. First 4 cameras I bought for a while worked actually quite great. I was really impressed. I gave a good review. And I bought another 4 cameras. I installed one of these newer cameras in the area where trespassing is happening, getting on the roof. And I think part of these trespassings on the roof is to collect the nails and projectiles shot at my roof from moving cars. So here is no evidence left. So that camera, pretty much my east neighbors were jamming as I was installing that. So another camera was installed. Here was kind of a blind spot coming up to my patio next to AC unit where sometimes some stinky mess had been sprayed on. So that's another story. There is more to my harassment and I can tell in this video. So that camera was jammed too, and basically I installed another 2 cameras on patio to overview cat enclosure area and actually my main patio door. So I had lots of issues with them jamming these cameras, but all I'm trying to do is protect my home from burglaries, protect myself from harassment. So they are jamming these cameras to prevent me from seeing again criminal trespasses. And to see when they are trying to abuse animals once again. And what I noticed lately also, they had been using, actually they hacked all these cameras, at least the microphone part is hacked. Not to mention they hacked my cell phones too, by the way. And they were harassing not only me through the hacked cameras, but also harassing community cats. I had posted on my channel several videos about camera harassing community cats, and also have posted some videos about hackers actually harassing me. So over a week or so ago, my east neighbor had 2 fluent Russian-speaking females. Sounded like they probably came from Russia not so long time ago. Russian is my second language, English is my third language, so I do understand and know these fine differences in the language performance. My speech in Russian might not be quite as fluent as I used to be in my younger years, but I do know all these language nuances. So after that original visit, these 2 Russian females came with the children, and that was another afternoon. They were standing in the Jimenez front driveway talking. Well, children were shooting at my property, right in front of all of these parents. So, and then I noticed that one of the 2 Russian ladies, so one lady was 3rd trimester pregnant, ready to give birth, and other lady was skinny, long blonde hair, so that blonde hair lady started coming to Jimenez property, arriving. And what other thing I noticed, After this encounter, my hacked camera suddenly started having Russian-speaking hackers delivering all kinds of threats and, just kind of nuisance talking. But some of that was actual threats to me. And I also noticed that those who are doing drive-by projectile shooting at my home, some of them were also Russian-speaking males. And the hacker males on the cameras, the Russian-speaking ones, so fluent Russian males, and also some of them driving the cars past my house also Russian speaking. In one of those instances, I had one of these Russian boys screaming from a moving car at my house that in Russian language that we will eventually kill you. So right now things are escalating, but meanwhile I'm not giving up, even given the police is not doing anything and are not gonna do anything. There is no hope for law enforcement. I'm just simply at this point looking through the videos, checking what's going on and collecting evidence. And now I'm gonna go to last 2-day events. I think I ticked off harassers a little bit when I did a little more trimming. I trimmed overgrown succulents on my southeast portion of a front yard near the walkway where lots of these shooters and harassers love to hide behind. And I also did quite a bit trimming on a decorative oak tree. So now you can see it's harder to hide when children are shooting at my property. So they were not happy about that. As I was using my electric trimmer, cutting down the succulents, trimming, Gerardo Jimenez, my east neighbor, was yelling on my own camera microphone, "Shut up." Not from his backyard, nope. That particular camera microphone was past middle of the house towards the west end, and he's the east neighbor. So, but anyways, and I wouldn't be surprised that hackers are listening and enjoying and thinking it's very, very funny, to harass older lady, to harass cats. It's just very, very entertaining. And, they can sing whatever they want. But anyways, but they were really ticked off about that part. What came the next? I actually caught on the video surveillance Jimenez's wife, Gerardo Jimenez's wife, were with the children in their driveway shooting at my property. So that was Gerardo Jimenez's wife supervised harassment of me in their front yard. So I posted that video. Then of course I caught shooting at my property, another shooting at my property from car, posted that. They were not very happy about that. And yeah, prior to that I also had called police about shooting from 4211 West Paradise Lane property, Nicholas Cornelius, wife Tiana Spitali, shooting nail guns at my property. And that particular day, I was weeding in southeast end of my backyard. So here were and nose these nails in that area. And then later I heard shooting of a nail gun, like a specific sound, and I found a whole bunch of nails facing one direction, corresponding with Spitali Cornelius property. So I called police. I had Officer Blazer, serial number 11731, coming to my property, ignoring the facts I'm telling, trying to claim that that's a roof problem or somebody might have thrown in some nails in my yard, but likely not. When I brought him back into the southeast end to explain why, if the nails were thrown in my backyard, all of these nails are facing the same direction, he suddenly responded to me that he is not a physics expert. But anyways, in that conversation, he also mentioned that I need to check in psychiatric hospital because Phoenix Police Department cannot force me to do so. And he also told I don't have sufficient evidence for him to investigate anything. And when I showed him also video of shooting from the car at my properties, a nail hits a walkway, a bounce from the walkway hits the roof. He claimed that that particular event, that's not a nail, that is a dragonfly. Well, dragonflies don't fly at night. And here are only few dragonflies this time of the year. Then he wanted to get inside my house to see my other hacked set of cameras, CCTV, which quite frankly I've seen this officer before and I do not feel safe letting him inside my house. So I rejected this notion and I said I can look at those cameras and please provide me with the email where I can send these videos if I find. He refused to do so. He wanted me to call back so he could go in my wardrobe room to see himself on the camera. Well, I don't feel comfortable with that, so of course I didn't call back. And why wouldn't you want me to send these to the email? What's the problem with that? And he certainly wanted me to deal that particular night, and he didn't want me to call the next day. So it just more and more confirms that he was working on cover-up of these crimes. So now yesterday afternoon earlier, so my cats are out on my patio inside their enclosure. I just walk out of my door and I see rock hitting the fence, shot from Gerardo Jimenez property, and I hear young male following up with FU. Then sometime later I hear northwest of me, that's on West Thunder Tor, it sounded like property directly northwest of me. I heard the cat screaming really badly. So, and for the last 2 days since I've been posting more videos, on Wednesday night, first cat came around 11 o'clock, which was quite unusual. And that night only one cat came. Yesterday, So this particular cat came around 11 o'clock, and I've been playing this video here, but I'm gonna zoom, stop the video and gonna zoom on this cat's coat. It seems like here is some injury in this area. As I was watching video, I was paying attention to that, and it seemed like it is some sort of injury. So in this video right here, so I'm monitoring. I set up 4 cameras for that area to view things around, so they have harder time to crawl up, but shooting still, it's a feeding station happens. Harassment still happens. Since me posting several videos of shots being fired from the cars, they're getting more and more careful not to be caught. But in this particular video, I'm gonna run to the end and so let me go back to the beginning a little bit. It's fine when the cat shows up. So cat shows up, but he is looking back towards southwest. So somebody is out there, and cat is trying to eat, and eventually hacker starts producing noises through my camera. So cat is eating and of course periodically looking around to make sure he or she is safe to eat. So, and here you go, cat, something happened, cat gets out and looks in the direction of Cornelius Spitali property. That's southeast of me, across the street. So goes back to eat because the cat is obviously very, very, very hungry. Just adjusting the view. And usually these cats doesn't get much time to eat because of the harassment. When they come to eat, they are never relaxed, looking over their shoulder because of this community harassment. And that was hacker making noise through the hacked camera microphone. And that one is a Russian speaking. So here is noise being made from the hacked camera microphones. And now cat is trying to figure out, is that safe to eat or he needs to leave. So yeah, that voice is probably harder to hear on this recording, but that is coming from the hacker here. So what else has happened yesterday? I went to bed about 1 o'clock. I woke up from about 10 gunshots. Actually, gunshots fired, probably 22 caliber gunshots fired. It sounded like in my backyard. So I got up and discovered that most of my cameras had been disabled. And as I was getting up after hearing gunshots, I heard mails from East Property saying, is that a red cat? You know, I didn't hear the rest of it, but it appeared that these people were shooting at the cats. The good news is, so the red cat came about 12:30. Actually, I'm gonna go right to Reolink app. So a red cat, orange cat, came about, so let me go to previous. Oh no. So this is the orange cat. He is approaching, kind of looking at the feeding station, and he is afraid to come nearby to eat. So here is a writing on the feeding station: do not abuse cats in Arizona law. This cat has been regularly coming to eat for the last 6 months. So now this is an interesting moment. The cat is sniffing corner of the house. I had this summer happening that while I was swimming in the pool, somebody had sprayed front of my house with some kind of probably predator urine. It did smell like urine whole front yard and more intensely near the house. And after swimming pool, while I was in the shower, somebody also sprayed same type of urine right next to my patio. So, and what I suspect happened here was a cat stalled, and why he was sniffing the corner is its possibilities that a predator urine had been sprayed by my front yard. So as I mentioned, the shooting either right next door or possibly in my backyard. I'm mentioning of the red or orange cat. Well, the good news, I know the orange cat is alive because I've seen him on the video about 1:30 in the morning, briefly walking by, so I know this cat is alive. Is that cat injured? No, I don't know that. Was another cat possibly killed in the backyard? It is possible. It is very possible. So we are dealing with a major violence, and now I'm just gonna go to my YouTube channel and gonna get to my latest videos. So some of the videos I caught is shooting at my house. So this one is shooting from moving car. This particular video, this is second video yesterday night, and that's another reason why my harassers were extremely angry. First video earlier, that was about so this is and that is down below projectiles. That is Nicholas Spitali shooting at my house. Nicholas Spitali shooting at my house with his wife and children inside of his car. So that was around 6:19, the first video. And the second video was him shooting. Wow, what a night tonight. I caught Nicholas Cornelius, Spitali family member, once again shooting projectiles at my house. In this particular instance, I need to go this way. Here is the white minivan parked. And you see here is a projectile coming right out of that white minivan. I'll zoom it out and it's coming straight at my... So, I caught these couple things last night. So that's about hacked microphones. So that's another video of nail gun being shot towards my porch from moving car. And also video of East neighbors under parental guidance shooting at my property. So they're not really happy with all of these things because of, even though they disabled my cameras, I still managed to catch some of these things. And to those people who like to tell me that, I'm violating somebody's privacy, when my safety is being violated, I am gonna go looking where the shots are being fired from. I will turn my cameras where I need to turn to catch these abusers abusing me and abusing community cats. At this point, when these criminals are harassing me, jeopardizing my safety, their privacy is gone. Because I'm gonna be hunting where these shots are coming from. I'm gonna be finding that out. So don't expect any privacy. If you really harass your neighbor, if you really jeopardize your neighbor's safety, and if you think that if you work as a bunch together to harass one elderly person, that you somehow deserve your privacy, it's absolutely not the case. It's absolutely not the case. And quite frankly, looking at all these things happening here, to me it seems like lots of these people in Brandywine neighborhood, Northern Phoenix, are somehow connected to gang cartel activity. When you teach children as adult, as a parent, to be violent towards animals or your neighbors, well, you are a criminal. You are abusing your own children by teaching them the wrong thing. And you deserve to be caught and charged with your wrongdoings. And well, these hackers think, you know, you can laugh at me, you're gonna put some laughs out, to tell about, we are enjoying you being upset about all of these things. I don't think you will be laughing too long because your time is coming. It's just a matter of time. This is not gonna go forever on. You will be caught. And on this note, may God bless all the good people, and may God help to round up those who are evil to other humans and animals. Have a wonderful day.